Detroit Den 313. Listen, this is me and Steve. Steve is just willing me through life right now. I'm pretty much on my deathbed, but we're gonna fight through it. Uh Steve, I'm excited about this one, man. People have some questions about some people we didn't talk about yesterday. I think that the stars are gonna align and it's gonna all make sense. But before we do anything, guys, hit that subscribe button. You guys been killing it. We're growing this channel, man, and I'm just super, super thrilled and humbled by it. But to the business, Steve. What the heck we talking about?
Will's got a little man cold, and the only thing that's going to make him feel better is that subscription medicine. So the more you guys have of that subscribe button, the more better he's going to feel. I think we're at the state of the Detroit Lions where we are today that everything's on the table. All right, we're slowly going to start getting into some draft stuff, some free agency stuff. We already talked about who we would like to keep from the Detroit Lions, who are going to be upcoming free agents. Now tonight, we're going to talk about some free agents we'd like to bring in. This is probably going to be multiple episodes that we'll do on this topic. There's a lot of different names out there. We're not going to go through all 300 free agents that there are out there. I mean, we don't know who's going to get franchise tag extended at this time. We don't have a lot of information, but we'll going over this list the last couple of days. Are you locked on to a number one, or do you have a guy you have to have? Who do you got your eyes on?
Steve, there's a guy I have to have. There's a guy I have to have out there. And it's probably going to be a guy that a lot of people aren't excited about. It's not really sexy. Stats aren't crazy. When you look at just like when we're talking about and just giving a little lean in, interceptions and stuff like that. But he's a dog, man. DJ Reed. DJ Reed. So yesterday, and a couple people put it in the comments about Carlton Davis, why I wasn't super high on CD or whatever. It's not that I'm not super high on him. If I can get both of them, I'd be excited about that, especially in the configuration that our secondary ended up in this season. But listen, if I'm choosing in between the two, DJ Reed he's kind of like a Meek Robertson to me. He's a guy who's an absolute dog that you wouldn't think about. You think about the Jets, you think about their secondary, you're thinking about Sauce Gardner. You're not thinking about DJ Reed, man, but DJ Reed quietly is playing some phenomenal football. So here's a little stat. Per week 17, DJ Reed has forced tight window on 12 of his 24 targets, 50% 50%. He is at the time, he was ahead of Sauce Gardner in tight windows, and they were top 5 in the whole entire league. This is a guy who's sticky. This is a guy who plays with a competitive edge to him. He has just a tremendous work ethic and grit. I just feel like he fits exactly what the Detroit Lions are. My only worry is this. At the end of the season, he said that he was ready to go into free agency and he was ready to get out of there. But does Coach Glenn change how he feels about the Jets? It's my only question. Finish the season, ready to get out of there, ready to start new, which I think would feed it would feed us an opportunity to be able to go get him. But now has Coach Glenn changed his mindset? So, hey, listen, DJ, if you're watching this by some fluke, when Coach Glenn calls, please don't answer because he's probably going to have some sauce that's going to make you want to stay there. Steve, DJ Reed, how you feel about him?
My only concern is that he's not big enough to ride the big boy rides at Cedar Point, William. He's only 5'9", and like 180 pounds. My only concern is I don't mind the size, but I don't know can we afford to have two corners potentially underneath 5'10"? Like if you're going up against some bigger receivers like DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, Christian Watson in our own division, like I don't know if I love the matchups physicality wise. I like his style of play. I think he's very underrated. You talk about a guy, Sauce Gardner, who shuts down one half of the field. That means that the other half of the field's getting tested by DJ Reed, and he's holding his water. I like the stats. I like what he could do. But when I look at bringing him into Detroit, how are we going to look with 2 5'9" corners out there, William? Are we talking about like some Cabbage Patch Kids out there just barely, biting some ankles? Like, I don't know. That's really my only concern, but I like his style of play. Again, I don't know if I love his comments about wanting to get out of New York. I think that there's a more subtle way to kind of go about it. I'd love to have him in Detroit, but I don't know, William. Just 5'9" concerns me just because we have a Meek Robertson who's already a little undersized.
Yeah, it would concern me, man, if he didn't play like he was 6 foot tall. It's funny that you mentioned DK. I actually watched a little bit of film of him and DK going at it, and he gave DK hell. So same thing with Tyler Lockett. He was bouncing back and forth between Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. It's kind of they didn't have, hey man, we're gonna put sauce on one of these guys. They were kind of just letting it happen organically. So there was a few times where he got lined up with DK, and he definitely held his own. He got targeted a couple of times on DK, and only to incompletion. So uh, I have no worries about his size because ultimately I don't think that he necessarily ends up as the outside corner. Maybe a Meeks one outside corner, Terrion's one outside corner, and then maybe DJ comes to Detroit and plays the nickel. Man, we let Brian Branch go back there and play safety. Like I just think having having a secondary of guys, man, who are elite caliber guys who can cover and be sticky, exactly what we need, man. Pass rush going, we got sticky coverage. I would be just more. I'd be elated to get DJ Reed in the field. So to me, no brainer.
Let me tell you something, William. Let me tell you a little something, all right? I've got a motto going into this whole offseason, all right? Trench warfare, okay? I'm getting in these trenches. I'm beefing up. I'm going to be a problem up front, offensive line, defensive line. My number one guy right now, Jerron Reed from the Seattle Seahawks, all right? Young kid. Let me see how old he is. 32 years old. Well, he's not a young kid. 32 years old, 6'3", 307 pounds. If I could talk today, that'd be fantastic. When I look at his, and again, I swore off PFF a couple weeks ago for what they did to Amik Robertson and gave him like a 63 grade for what he did against Justin Jefferson after that game. So take this with a grain of salt. If you buy it, you don't. If you love PFF ratings, great. But I don't fully buy into it. But according to PFF, he is top 30 as a defensive tackle in the league in damn near every single statistical category. Like when we're talking about sacks, 4 sacks, that was 32nd. That was his worst PFF grade for defensive tackles. What's another key factor that I look at for defensive line and defensive tackles in particular is pressures. He had 48. That was in the top 15. Hurries was in the top 12. I think he's just a plug. I think he could be similar to like maybe another DJ Reader. If we're bringing him in, he'd probably be a rotational guy, probably on that second wave of defensive line. I'd like a pairing with him and Levi Onwuzurike in the twos. Someone who can get after the quarter. Actually, both Levi and him could get after the quarterback. So if we're just keeping guys fresh and healthy, I think it's going to be hard for me to find someone who I want on the defensive line that's going to be available and realistic like a Jerron Reed. So I don't know if you have we didn't really prepare who we were going to talk about. How do you feel about old JR?
He's good. He's good. He's a guy, he's okay. He's okay. But I know a guy, Steve.
I mean, if you want to, different. I know you're one guy, but it's a different position. But yeah, if you want to get into it, we get into it.
Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. There was a guy that our ex-D line coach was talking about. He's a little younger, equally as big. And he was talking about how he was hoping that he could get Broderick Martin to the caliber and the style of play as this young man. So that immediately led me to do some digging on him. And what I found was this guy 6'2", 300 pounds. And at the time I wasn't super up on him. Teair Tart. I wasn't super up on him, man. But I said, hey, listen, Coach Williams said that he's legit. I got to go check him out. And what I found, Steve, we got enamored with a couple of guys in the NFL draft last year. Braden Fisk was a guy that we were drooling over. And when I started to watch Teair Tart, man, I was like, this dude is just flat out explosive. So I got a couple of plays that I want to take a look at here. That's him right over the center in the A gap right there. And he's just explosive, man. He's explosive. That's Derrick Henry he's going to get. That's Derrick Henry. That's not just a regular dude. That's him beating this guy on zone blocking, right? Getting in the gap and running down Derrick Henry. I tell you guys all the time, I'm not gonna bore you with film, but he also has a absolute nasty swim move that he does on the goal line very often. But this is a dude that is 300 pounds and he is explosive. I think that if he gets in a building, he would be the most explosive on one given play. He would be our most explosive D lineman on one given play on goal line type situations, but he would have to be a rotational piece. 27 years old. Dude is a dog, man. I think he would be a phenomenal rotation piece to add to Liam McNeil and DJ Reader. That's my guy when I'm talking about D line, Teair Tart. So guys, if you go check out some of his highlights, man, I'll post some of them on Twitter. Dude's a dog, man. How you feel about Tart, Steve?
I'm just looking at his again PFF. They have him as the 84th overall free agent, so there's probably some good value there. We could probably get him for a decent price. We're not going to have to overspend. Listen, we've talked some big name free agents in the past. We talked to the Danielle Hunters last year. You know, the guys that were going to be seeking 20 to 25 million. We're not in that boat as the Detroit Lions. So for if you watch those channels that people are saying we're going to go out and make some crazy big, sign the number one available player. Probably not going to happen. All right. One, we don't have the money. Two, we're really just building for depth. We need some backup pieces. We saw this D line get absolutely depleted. I like Teair Tart, 6'2", 304 pounds, 16 pressures. Just looking at his PFF stats real quick. Again, I don't love PFF. They're kind of iffy with their grades. 1 sack, but again, he's not a pass rusher. Again, he's probably going to be a rotational guy. Like you said, our starting D line, I think, is 75% set. Same songs, different dance. The opposite end of Aiden Hutchinson is probably the only thing that's really up for grabs battle wise going into training camp, which is a long way from now. But if we're talking D tackles, you're probably talking second stringers. So again, him and Levi Onwuzurike, Levi can get after the passer. So it could be a good little complementary piece of one guy's in there to stop the run. The other guy might be more of a pass rusher. I think we could mix them up with some different personnel groupings and it'd be just fine.
Yeah, and I can't believe you keep doing my man Levi like this, man. I truly believe Levi can play big boy in. Levi looked good at big boy in. If you're telling me that DJ Reader's, because at the beginning of the season, DJ Reader wasn't healthy. So if you're telling me DJ Reader's healthy and Lee McNeil, I think you can bump Levi out there and let him play that big boy in and have Aiden on the opposite side. Like Coach Campbell likes to say, hey, listen, sometimes Aiden, maybe they're going to be sending that pass rush to you, man, and we let the other guy work on the back end. Or when you beat your guy, man, when you beat the pants off your tackle, man, you just flush that quarterback right over to the other guy. And, Steve, I ain't going to leak too much about the stuff that we got coming in our draft conversation. So it could all make sense. But yeah, I like it. I like them both.
Brad Holmes leaves breadcrumbs, so does Steve. All right. I'm telling you, I'm trying to beef up these trenches. And I'm just checking I have a live stream up from Ford Field. There's only one person in Ford Field right now, William. Do you know who that is?
Who's that?
It's Jaden Daniels, still being untouched and unpressured. So I think we can afford to upgrade pretty much anywhere. Again, we know
he's got a game to get to. He better
get moving. I'm looking at he's just standing there, man. Nobody's even coming after him or nothing. He's just hanging out. I got a question. This is kind of it's on the thumbnail. You guys see it. You're probably waiting for us to talk about it. All right. How do you feel about the linebacker position? Because when I'm looking at linebacker position, there's a guy out there that I really, 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 and I mean really, really, really love, William. And that's Dre Greenlaw from the San Francisco 49ers. How would you feel about that? Again, I know we have Jack Campbell. I know we have Alex Anzalone. I know we have Derek Barnes, Rodrigo. I really like Dre Greenlaw, though.
Yeah, Dre Greenlaw, he's a good football player. I don't want to take anything away from him. Do I like him as a football player? I love him as a football player. Do I like the price that he's probably going to cost? I don't. If I'm going that route, I just re-sign Derek Barnes, to be honest. And I'm not going to sit here and say that they're two football players that should be in the same conversations. But I love Anzalone. I love Jack Campbell. To me, those are two positions that are locked up. I enjoy Malcolm Rodriguez for what he is, what he comes in and he does as far as special teams. When anytime he's needed to come in and play some linebacker reps, he takes care of his business. So I like him a lot. And Derek Barnes, man, if the price is right, and I know a few of you guys hammered us yesterday for not talking Derek Barnes. Bottom line is yesterday we were talking about our guys that we had to have back. Derek Barnes isn't somebody that I have to have back. Now, would I like to have him back? I like to have Derek Barnes back for the right price. I do think that there's some things that he offers as a role player, but there's some people in this draft that I think could potentially overtake a guy like Derek Barnes. Now, he was coming on strong for the position, that strong side backer position in the way that we wanted to utilize that position. But who knows, our new DC is going to want to utilize that thing in the same way. So that's all these things what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about Derek Barnes. No knock on him. If it was still Coach Glenn and they were still playing the same exact scheme, I would say, okay, Derek Barnes was stepping into a role and playing some really good football in that position. But if we go across the league, to me, and this is just my opinion, Derek Barnes isn't just somebody that you plug and play as a linebacker on any team in the NFL. I think there's some guys out there like the Dre Greenlaws of the world, or some other guys in free agency that can offer just a wider range skill set than maybe Derek Barnes can. So that's where I sit on him. Steve, you said similar. How you feel about him?
Here's the thing with Dre Greenlaw. All right, 27 years old. I'm not even going to get into his PFF stats because it's all based on 2024. He only played 4 games. He was coming off that Achilles injuries that he had in the Super Bowl last season. Absolute freak injury. But I remember listening to Brad Holmes' press conference the other day, and I couldn't recognize the voice, but someone asked him about the linebacker position. And he said, look, I'm interested in linebackers. I don't care if it's a Mike linebacker, a Sam linebacker, an outside linebacker, inside linebacker. He goes, I pick and I can't remember his exact wordings, but he pretty much said they're linebackers. Okay. When I think about that, if I were to take Dre Greenlaw on this team, I love Anzalone. I love Jack Campbell. I think Dre Greenlaw is better. I think he brings a little bit. Jack Campbell's trajectory is in the right direction. I think he's heading that way. I love Captain Jack. Listen, I was one of the guys riding for him. I know, Will, buckle up. I was one of those guys riding for him in the draft when everyone said, you don't take a linebacker in the top 18. I said Steve Perkins would. This dude tested off the charts at the draft. When I look at Dre Greenlaw and what Kyle Shanahan said about him when he went down in that Super Bowl, he said that was the moment I thought my defense might be in trouble because what they were doing to Patrick Mahomes and how they were able to match speed for speed and use some spy stuff and keep Patrick Mahomes contained, it all went out the window when Dre Greenlaw tore his Achilles running on the field. I think it was right after halftime, just a freak injury, and he didn't really come back this past season. They kind of shut him down with how the 49ers season was going, but I'll stand on it. I love my Detroit Lions. We have to look at this defense and say, we have to get it completely on par with the offense. All right. If there's positions we can upgrade, there might be some hurt feelings around here, but I think Dre Greenlaw would be the number 1 linebacker in Detroit if he came to town. I'll stand on it, William. I'll die on that island.
Ooh. Hey, listen, Jack Campbell's on the rise. I'm not going to say that he's better than Dre Greenlaw, but Alex Anzalone is playing like one of the best linebackers in football to me. That dude, he's playing on another level. He's all over the football field, and from a mental aspect of it, man, he is just. I think that he should be in conversations as top 5 backers, man. So I don't know, man. I can't say Greenlaw over my man Alex, over my man Thor. The disrespect. I'm gonna call him as soon as we get off this episode, man, and just let him know how you're feeling, man. I'm in shock and awe right now. But Dre Greenlaw, nonetheless, is a hell of a football player, man. If he showed up in Detroit and he signed him, I'm probably calling you and going nuts, and I'd be pumped about it. I'm just worried about the money, and I'm trying to keep it realistic. You know what I mean? Not that that's not realistic. It could happen for sure, but I'm just trying to think about how this money is going to fall out. We're going to have to pay guys like Aiden Hutchinson. We're going to have to pay guys like Kirby Joseph. So it's
Yeah, I understand. I don't know what the market's going to be for linebackers in free agency. I have no clue. So let me just send that out there. But William, what our defense did, and I know our offense was absolute dog shit against Washington, but our defense wasn't getting stops either. So it's kind of very, very bad complementary football. We were putting our defense in some bad spots with turnovers. At the same time, maybe there were some positions where we say, hey, as a defense, we got to go out there and stand on our heads and try to back up our quarterback and get a stop or a turnover. And we didn't do that. So this whole offseason, I'm not hurting people's feelings. I'm just speaking the truth. Like there's positions that probably could be upgraded. All right. We did not play good defense from week 1 to week whatever divisional round against the Commanders. There were some times where we gave up some points. I don't care about yards, but we didn't reach our goal. That means we're not going into the 2024 or 2025 season with the same exact team. There's going to be some changes. If Brad Holmes thinks that this could be an upgrade, don't know what the price is going to be, but you're 100% right. We got some other contracts coming up. So I don't know. That might be as splashy as it gets for the Detroit Lions in some offseason stuff, but we still have a whole draft. We don't know. We'll see what happens with free agency. But I'm just very intrigued with Greenlaw. And the 49ers are kind of in the same boat. They're paying a lot of people a lot of money. They're almost in the same boat as the Detroit Lions, but we have some more rookie contracts than they do. But I think that's why they're not going to be bringing him back, is because he might demand a little bit more than what they can afford to pay him. But as a player, man, he's just an absolute stud in the run. He's stud in coverage. He's fast. He can cover. He can blitz. He can do a lot of different things.
Yeah, no, I like him, man. I like him if the price is right, and they, like I said, if they sign him, I'd be happy about it, man. But
You
Steve,
got anyone else you want to talk about tonight? Because I know we're going to be talking about, okay, if we got more, buckle up and I'm ready to
I got
go.
one
But
more. Yeah, I just got one more. Last season, I talked about these guys having too many pass rushers, and that wow, what a problem to have. I can't even imagine having that problem, having too many pass rushers. But this team had too many pass rushers. This guy went from getting ready to leave the team, demanding a trade, to a 1-year deal, restructuring a contract. Was looking to trade for him because these guys had too many pass rushers. But now he's a free agent. I'm very interested in this guy. 27 years old, Josh Sweat, man. Josh Sweat, to me, athlete, man. Something we lack is pass rush. When I think about how we wanted to utilize that strong backer position, that outside backer position, I think that he would be a perfect fit for something like that. He can offer putting his hand in the dirt. He can stand up. He can get a pass rush going, or he can drop back in the coverage, man. I just feel like he would be a great piece to be able to utilize in certain ways, in certain moments, man. I think he'd be a great addition, and he would not break the bank. Only 27 years old. Josh Sweat is somebody that I'm really, really interested in moving forward. Now, this will be contingent on a couple of things. Who the heck is our DC? We still don't know. What are we going to be? We're going to be an odd front, even front? What are we going to be doing, man? So it's contingent on a few of those things, what this defense is going to look like, but I think that he could fit in either way. Like I said before, we could be going there, and there's been times where we've went big boy up front with our linemen, and then used Derek Barnes as a rusher off the end when we had 4D linemen. So there's different ways that we can utilize this thing. Brad Holmes talks about it all the time. He drafts and looks for guys in free agencies that are football players, not certain positions, not a freaking 1 tech, a 2 tech, a inside backer, outside backer. No, football player. I think Josh Sweat is a football player. How you feel about him?
William, he plays in the trenches, so I'm automatically in. Okay, I'm an automatic yes. All right, if it's front seven on defense, just consider me interested for the rest of the season. Okay, we've been singing this song for 2 seasons now. I think Josh Sweat had 8 sacks on the season, if I'm not mistaken. If you look at the Detroit Lions roster, 8 sacks would have been leading the team with eligible players at the end of the year. It is crazy to me that Aiden Hutchinson got hurt in week 6 and was still leading the team in sacks at the end of the season. He did not play for 2/3 of the year. That's how bad our pass rush is. I'm trying to paint the picture for you guys. We could not get after the passer. All right, pressures is cute, but sometimes you got to put him on his ass. I saw some pressures where it affected some throws. Will broke down a whole game against the Minnesota Vikings and how we were getting pressure and forcing bad throws. That's great, but that's not always the recipe. Sometimes you got to put him on his ass. That's what we need to do. Lee McNeil had a great season. Again, it was cut short to injuries. But when I saw that stat was Aiden Hutchinson leading the team, I said, this is an identifiable problem. All right. We tried to bring in Zadarius Smith to kind of take on a bigger role than what he was doing with the Cleveland Browns. And I said that from the beginning. I didn't know how that was going to work. He was used to playing Robin. Now he's got to step in here and be Batman. I don't know how that's going to work. It's easy to play defensive end in Cleveland when you got Myles Garrett on the other end and he's getting quadruple teamed. All right. Maybe Zadarius Smith will be better with Aiden Hutchinson. I don't know. That's what Brad Holmes has to figure out. But we have to get after the passer better. So look up that stat. It's a fact. Aiden Hutchinson only played 1/3 of the season and was leading the team in sacks. It's crazy to me. So if Josh Sweat could come in here, 27 years old, does he need a ride from the airport? Does Stephen Will gotta send that Uber and then split the fee? Like, I don't know what he needs, but I'm all for it, Will.
I like it. 2 things, Steve left, man. Good news and bad news. Which one you want first?
I don't believe in bad news, William. I believe that there's an opportunity to get better with whatever the news may be.
I like that. I like that style. And I also know that for those of you who don't know, Steve is a dessert guy first, man. He just give him his dessert. You know what I'm saying? Antoine Randall, man. You know, it's looking like he's outie. Yeah, it's looking like he's outie. So that just came out, kind of breaking news. It came out right when we were starting to air our episode here. And then the good news. The good news. News broke by wifey.
Yeah, I already know this one. I tweeted it out.
Yes, Sersky. Hey, this is a big deal. Hey, Mrs. Fraley, thank you for breaking this news. It made my day at work. I was struggling. I'm a little bit under the weather. And this instantly kind of picked me up a little bit. Pumped about it. Listen, I don't want to be disrespectful, Steve, with what I'm about to say, but if it comes out disrespectful, I don't really give a darn. Coach L, I really like you, man. Nice enough dude. Heck of a coach. If I'm picking in between the two, see ya. Bye bye. Did you need me to pack your bags? Did you need me to drive you to the airport? Listen, I don't know why you're going down on this derailed train, but whatever. See you later, man. I'll tell you the same thing. I wish you good health. I wish you good health. That's about all I can say.
It's almost like Ben Johnson's trying to shield himself with good coaches just in case it doesn't work out, right? That's kind of what it's looking like to me. I don't know. I haven't fully turned my back on Ben Johnson, but I don't know. Coming in and trying to steal all of our coaches, bad look when it's like, oh man, maybe these were the guys who made me as great as I was. I don't know. But Hank Fraley, love it. Absolutely staying home. My only question is he getting a promotion? Is he going to be doing a little bit more? I haven't seen what his official job title is going to be. Is he staying O-line coach? What's he going to be doing?
He is going to be the run game coordinator now. He is still going to be O-line coach as well, but he's got upgraded to a run game coordinator, also getting a little bonus, man. So congratulations, man. Happy for you and your family. But he was a guy that we were tossing around as potentially the OC. So now we know he's not the OC. So we can cross his name off the list, guys, as OC, run game coordinator, and still going to be coaching that O-line. I know. Hey, Frank, man, great job on your sabotage efforts, man, and all these interviews that he was going on. I got to tip my hat to Frank Ragnow. You just did phenomenal work. And we'll accept that check at Detroit Den 313 for the work we did behind the scenes as well.
Anything else for tonight?
Nah, man, I think that wraps it up, man.
Listen, we're going to be talking a lot of free agents. We'll only talked a handful today. There's hundreds out there. I got tabs open on some more guys that I'm interested in that we just didn't want to turn this into a 6-hour show. All right, we'll divvy this up. We'll dive into some more stuff. I'm telling you right now, trench warfare is coming. Stick around, hit that like button, subscribe for Will so that he feels better. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.